In our today's chapter, we shall study about moving charges and magnetism. From the title of the chapter, it seems that there must be some relation between the moving charges and as well as magnetic field. That means the motion of the electric charges may produce magnetic field. So that is what we are going to understand in this chapter. Electricity and magnetism have been known to us for 2000 years. Electricity and magnetism we studied as separate subjects. The relation between the electricity and magnetism was first observed by one of the Italian jurists by name Gian Romagnosi. What was his observation means? Current carrying conductor affected the magnetic needle which is kept by the side of it. That means if I consider a conductor through which if some current is passed, and by the side of the conductor or close to the conductor, if a magnet is suspended, bar magnet, or if a magnetic needle is kept, so this is the magnetic needle. Usually a suspended magnet or any magnetic needle aligns always along north and south direction. If such a magnetic needle is kept by the side of the conductor and if some current is passed through it, then the needle instead of aligning along north and south deflects in one of the direction, either like this or like this. It may deflect in any one of the direction because the needle is pivoted, that means it is supported over a sharp nail. So this is the point of pivot. So this needle, because of the flow of current, deflects either like this or like this. So this was the observation made by Gian Romagnosi, and in fact he published his observation in one of the local paper, local newspaper, but his observation were overlooked at that time. Same investigation was done once again by one more physicist, Danish physicist by name Hans Christian Ørsted. He reinvestigated the relation between the electricity and as well as magnetism. This happened. Gian Romagnosi made his observation in 1802, whereas in 1820 Ørsted reinvestigated the relation between the electricity and magnetism by means of his experiment popularly known as Ørsted experiment. Now let us understand the experiment, or let us explain the Ørsted experiment to investigate the magnetic field. Ørsted conducted the experiment to investigate the relationship between the magnetism and electric current. Actually, he took one magnetic needle which is pivoted or supported over a stand. So this is a tiny magnetic needle, so it is supported over a sharp point with the help of a stand. Then by keeping the conductor just by the side of the needle and by passing the current, he noticed the deflection of the magnetic needle. Usually any magnetic needle or a bar magnet when suspended freely always aligns along north and south direction of the earth. But here when current is passed, the needle instead of aligning along north and south, it used to deflect in one of the direction. The deflection may be either like this or like this depending upon the direction of the current. The same experiment now I am going to explain according to our NCERT textbook. See, these are the diagrams with respect to our NCERT textbook. Same experiment I explain in this way. This is the conductor. As you imagine the conductor here, imagine the conductor like this. The conductor is perpendicular to the plane of the board. What does it indicates? I already told you that current is flowing through the conductor in the outward direction. That means current is coming out of the conductor. Then by keeping one magnetic needle by the side of the conductor, suppose if I imagine this as the magnetic needle. So let us imagine this as the magnetic needle. This is north pole and this is south pole. So when current flows through the conductor, then what happens means the needle deflects in one of the direction. So this is how the deflection is shown. Now the needle is aligning tangential to the circle imagined all around the conductor. So this is the circle, small circle imagined around the conductor, and this is the needle which is kept. Now the needle shows deflection like this. North pole of the needle, how it is deflecting? It is deflecting in anti-clockwise. Again, if you keep the needle at this position, once again the deflection will be like this. Again here also the deflection will be like this, and even deflection will be like this. At 4 different positions I have kept the magnetic needle and I have shown the deflection. It is found that the north pole orient or align itself in anti-clockwise direction when the current flows out of the conductor. If the direction of the current is reversed, that means if you make the current to flow through the conductor inwards, then again by keeping the magnetic needle, it is found that now the north pole is going to deflect in opposite direction since the current is reversed. So north pole deflects like this. So again deflection will be like this. Again here also you can notice that the deflection of the magnetic needle is like this. That means even if I keep the magnetic needle here, the deflection will be like this. Look here. Suppose if this is the north pole, on reversing the current, the deflection will be like this. Again here the deflection will be in this direction. Again at this position also the deflection reverses. Even after keeping the magnet here, the deflection is going to reverse. That means it will be in which direction? Clockwise direction. So from these two figures we can understand very clearly that if the direction of the current is reversed, deflection of the magnetic needle also reverses. That is what we can understand. If the direction of the current is reversed, then the direction of deflection of magnetic needle also reverses, means changes. Then on bringing the magnetic needle close to the conductor, this is the conductor. So bring the needle close to the conductor, or else you pass current of larger magnitude. That means if current strength is increased, or instead of increasing the current strength, if you bring the magnetic needle close to the conductor, then what happens? Then large deflection is produced. For small current, there will be only small deflection. If large current is passed, then there will be large deflection of the magnetic needle. So that is what we have written here. On increasing the strength of the current or by bringing the needle close to the conductor, amount of deflection increases. So this is the second investigation or observation made by Oersted. Finally, suppose if we sprinkle iron filings means iron powder. So fine powder of iron, if it is sprinkled around this conductor by passing the current through the conductor in any one of the direction, what happens means iron filings by themselves arrange in the form of concentric circles. So these are all nothing but the alignment of iron filings in the form of concentric circles. Okay. So this is another observation made by Oersted. So on sprinkling the iron filings around the conductor, they arrange themselves in the form of concentric circles. So from all these observation, the conclusion is this: whenever current flows through a conductor, then in the region around the conductor always there will be magnetic field. Magnetic field is produced. Remember, if we consider one stationary charge, if I consider one stationary charge, that means charge at rest. let Q be the charge which is at rest. It always produces an electric field around a small region. So, all around the charge within a small area or within small space, what is produced? Electric field is produced because this charge is stationary or it is at rest. Suppose if the same charge is set into motion, how? Consider a conductor. Pass the current through the conductor. We are passing the current means charges are flowing through the conductor. Conductor means a piece of wire, copper wire, iron wire, whatever it may be. So charges are said to be flowing. So if the charges are set into motion, then what happens? Inside the conductor there will be electric field. Outside the conductor, in a small region, there will be magnetic field. That means moving charges, if Q is the charge which is in motion, moving charges not only produces electric field but also produces magnetic field. Whereas the charge which is at rest always produces electric field. In addition to electric field, magnetic field is also produced when the same charges are set into motion. So this is what we can understand from this experiment, because if no current is passed, no deflection and no alignment or arrangement of iron filings in the form of concentric circles. It is only by passing the current, deflections are noticed in opposite direction on reversing the current, and iron filings are found to align themselves in the form of concentric circles. So this was the investigation made by Oersted, and finally we can say that moving charges are the source of magnetic field. How magnetic field is produced? What is the cause for the production of magnetic field? Means moving charges are the source, or moving charges are responsible in producing the magnetic field. So that is what overall we can understand from this experiment. We know that moving charges produces not only magnetic field but additional to magnetic field also produces electric field. Then what is meant by magnetic field? Let us know the meaning or the definition of magnetic field. Magnetic field is represented by B and it is a vector quantity. Even electric field is also vector quantity. We know that various types of fields exist in nature. Electric field, electromagnetic field, nuclear field, gravitational field. Among all these fields, it is found that gravitational field is the weakest, whereas the nuclear field is the strongest. Let us know about the magnetic field. What is meant by magnetic field then? Suppose if you pass the current through a conductor, if magnetic energy is experienced, or felt around this conductor over a small region, suppose if I choose a small area, small region around the conductor, within this area at any point if magnetic energy is experienced, then the space where magnetic energy is experienced around this conductor because of flow of current is known as magnetic field. So space around a magnet or space around a current carrying conductor, where magnetic energy is experienced or felt. Is known as magnetic field. We know that all these fields, electric field, electromagnetic field, nuclear field, gravitational field, all these fields are not visible to us. All these fields are invisible. Then how can we say that there exists a magnetic field just by passing the current? Or how can we say that magnetic energy is experienced? All that we need to do is Either you bring one bar magnet, suspended bar magnet close to the conductor, or just close to the conductor or by the side of the conductor, you just keep one magnetic needle which is mounted over a stand. Then what happens? Either this magnetic needle or the suspended bar magnet, instead of aligning along north and south direction, used to deflect in any one of the direction. Either it may deflect like this or away from the conductor. So the magnetic needle may deflect either towards the conductor or away from the conductor. So the deflection of the magnetic needle is sufficient to say that a magnetic energy is existing all around this conductor, and that magnetic energy itself is known as magnetic field. Because if no magnetic energy exists, then there will be no deflection. The needle simply aligns always along north and south direction of the earth. It is because of some invisible energy that exists around the conductor. Because of flow of current, the needle deflects in one of the direction. Then what is meant by magnetic effect of current? We know that current produces various effects. It produces heating effect, magnetic effect, mechanical effect, and also chemical effect. Then what is meant by magnetic effect? Suppose through a conductor, means through a wire, if we pass the current, then in the region all around this conductor, what happens? Magnetic field is produced. And this field is produced because of the effect of current, means due to the flow of current only. And this effect is nothing but magnetic effect. So magnetic field is produced around a conductor when current is passed through it. When current is passed through the conductor. So this effect of current is called as magnetic effect. So remember these two definitions, one magnetic field and magnetic effect. There is a difference, slight difference is there. If energy is felt, we call that as magnetic field. If current is passed, then only that magnetic field is produced, and it is produced outside, and we know very well that inside the conductor electric field will be there. Suppose if you consider a charge Q which is at rest, then we know that it produces an electric field. Okay. In this electric field region, if I keep one more charge, say for example Q, I consider this charge as source charge or main charge. What is meant by source charge? A charge which produces electric field. Even this charge also produces its own electric field, but I take this charge as the source charge and this as a test charge. Already we have studied about this in electrostatics. Now what happens? Since this charge produces electric field, in this electric field I have placed one more charge. Now naturally this charge is going to experience the force due to this electric field. As a result of this charge moves away from the source charge due to the force acting on it because of electric field. Stationary charge produces electric field. If one more charge is kept in the same electric field, it experiences force. Similarly, now let us study what happens to an electric charge when it is made to move in a magnetic field. When it is made to move in a magnetic field, here we are not going to make the charge to move. Simply we keep the charge in the region of the electric field. Now this charge by itself it moves due to the force acting on it because of interaction with the electric field. This charge interacts with the electric field produced by this charge, and as a result of that it moves. Now let us consider uniform magnetic field. Uniform magnetic field is represented by means of parallel magnetic lines of force. Now in this uniform magnetic field, or through this uniform magnetic field, if I make the charge to enter with a certain velocity, this charge particle is cutting the magnetic lines of force. Let theta be the angle made by the direction of velocity with the magnetic field. That means the charge enters into the magnetic field making an angle theta with the direction of the field. In such a case, this charge now is going to experience some force. So on this charge, some force acts, and this force is nothing but Lorentz magnetic force. Lorentz magnetic force. Now let us explain this bit clearly. What I do means, I imagine one plane, horizontal plane. Okay. So let us imagine one horizontal plane over which I consider magnetic field. So this is the magnetic field. Let a charge q enter into the magnetic field with a velocity v, as I have shown here. So B is the magnetic field, uniform magnetic field. Okay. Now the charge particle q is entering into the magnetic field. Charge particle q is entering into the magnetic field. Or else we write this bit clearly. Let theta be the angle made by the direction of motion or direction of velocity with the magnetic field. That means the charge enters into the magnetic field at an angle theta. Now what happens to this charge? Certainly this charge experiences a force, and that force itself is known as Lorentz magnetic force, and it is given by F equal to Q into V into B into sin theta. We are not going to derive this equation. Directly we consider this equation. What is Q? Charge. V velocity. P magnetic field. Theta angle between B and V. Okay. Now, if I want to express this force in the form of vector, then how can I write this? F equal to Q into V cross B. So this is nothing but the vectorial representation. So vectorially, the Lorentz force which is produced because of magnetic field is given by Q into V cross B, cross product of two vectors. What is the cross product of two vectors, velocity and magnetic field? Cross product of two vectors can be written as product of magnitude of the two vectors and the sine of the angle between the two vectors. So this is one vector, this is another vector, one more vector. Okay. So force is also a vector quantity. Cross product of V and B, mathematically it can be written like this, V into B into sin theta. So this is the vectorial representation of the Lorentz magnetic force. Now here, when will be this force maximum and minimum? Suppose if I consider this equation, according to this equation, I consider only the magnitude F equal to Q into V into B into sin theta. Okay. Suppose if theta is equal to 0 degree, what does it mean? Let the charge particle enter into the magnetic field along the same direction. That means both B and V are parallel to each other. If B and V are parallel to each other, then what is the angle? So this is the charge Q entering into the magnetic field parallel to it. Now theta becomes equal to 0. Now if theta becomes equal to 0, what happens to this equation now? F equal to Q into VB into sin 0. Sin 0 is 0, therefore force is equal to 0. So I can consider this as minimum. Then suppose if the charge particle enters anti-parallel means instead of moving along the direction of field, if the same charge particle moves opposite to the direction of the magnetic field like this, then what will be the angle in this case? The angle in this case will be equal to 180 degree. Okay, so between these two, let us rewrite. So this is the direction of velocity, this is the direction of magnetic field. Now the angle between these two will be theta equal to 180 degree. That means anti-parallel. In the direction of field, if it moves, then we say that as parallel motion. If the charge particle Q moves opposite to the field, we call that as anti-parallel motion. So for such anti-parallel motion also force becomes equal to 0, because F equal to Q V B sin, instead of 0 I consider 180, so which is also equal to 0. Sin 180 is also equal to 0, therefore F will be equal to 0. So whether the charge particle moves parallel to the magnetic field or anti-parallel to the magnetic field, force acting on the charge particle is 0. Simply the charge will be moving in the magnetic field, but no force act on it. So this is one aspect in which we have to remember with respect to the direction of motion of the charge particle with the magnetic field. Suppose if the charge particle enters at right angles to the magnetic field, let us consider now. This is the direction of magnetic field. If the charge particle enters at right angles to the magnetic field with a velocity v, then what happens to this charge particle? So this charge particle now, it is going to describe a circular path. Look here, it describes a circular path. Okay, then here what happens? They move along straight line. Whether it moves parallel to the field or anti-parallel to the field, charge always moves along straight line. But here charge describes circular motion. Instead of moving along straight line, it describes circular motion only when it enters at right angles. That means theta equal to 90 degree. Then what will be the force acting on the charge particle now? The force acting on the charge particle is given by F equal to Q into VB. So theta should be taken as equal to 90 degree. So sin 90 equal to 1. Then now F becomes equal to Q into V into B, because sin 90 is 1. So this force is found to be maximum. So overall what we can say means, if a charge particle moves either parallel to the field or anti-parallel to the field, no force act on it. Force acting on it is 0. Whereas if a charge particle enters into the magnetic field at right angles, then maximum force acts on the charge particle, which is given by F equal to Q into V into B. We know that Lorentz magnetic force acting on a charge particle when it enters into the magnetic field is given by equation F equal to QVB sin theta. How to find the direction of the force? Look here, the direction of the force is found to be perpendicular to both V and as well as B. That means, suppose if I consider this as the velocity of the charge particle and this as the magnetic field, then this will be the direction of the force. Okay, so the direction of the force is found to be perpendicular to B, also perpendicular to V. Look here, it is perpendicular to V, also perpendicular to B. Not only that, it is also perpendicular to the plane. Suppose if I imagine this book itself as a plane, so the direction of the force is also perpendicular to the plane. Look at, this is the plane. So this force, if this is the plane, this is the direction of the force which is perpendicular to it. So direction of force is perpendicular to V, B and also to the plane containing V and B. So instead of considering only the magnetic field, suppose if both the fields are present, that means if I consider combined field in the space, so in this space, if both electric field and magnetic field are present, then in this combined field, if a charge particle Q moves, then what is the force acting on this charge particle when it moves in a combined field? So, in a combined field of B and E, the force acting on the charge particle is F, net force, F equal to force due to magnetic field, that is FB, plus force due to electric field, that is FE. This is net force. Why should I consider net? Because there are two fields. Now the charge particle is interacting with the two fields at a time. Only magnetic field is not there. If only magnetic field is there, then the charge particle interacts with the magnetic field B alone and experiences this amount of force. But now it is interacting with both the fields. So when it interacts with both the fields, what's the force? Means force due to electric field plus force due to magnetic field. What is force due to magnetic field? It is nothing but Lorentz force. Lorentz magnetic force. Okay, already we know the equation for that. What is the equation? So this can also be written as FB, QVB sin theta, then plus for FE I can write this as Q into E. How can I write Q into E for FE? Because we know that electric field at a point is defined as force acting per unit charge. This we already studied in the first chapter, that means under electrostatics, electric concept of electric charges and fields. In that chapter, we studied about the electric field, how to find the magnitude of electric field, force acting per unit charge. So if you cross multiply this, then F will be equal to E into Q. So that is what I have written. I rewrite this. I remove Q as a common factor. I write this first, electric field plus Q I have taken out. Then what is left here? VB into sin theta. Okay. So this is the net force acting on the charge particle when it moves in a combined field. So E and B. So it moves with a velocity V, making an angle theta. Then the force on this is given by this equation. Vectorially, we can also write this in this form. That means in vector form, F net is equal to Q into E. Electric field is a vector quantity E plus VB sin theta can be written as V cross B. And this force due to both electric field and magnetic field is nothing but Lorentz force. Lorentz force. See the difference. See, this is Lorentz magnetic force. Lorentz magnetic only due to magnetic field, but this force is due to both electric and magnetic field. Therefore, we call this as Lorentz force. So there is a difference. Lorentz force and Lorentz magnetic force. Suppose, let us consider once again this equation. FB equal to Q into VB into sin theta, force due to magnetic field or Lorentz force. If V equal to 0, what does it mean? See, in the magnetic field, only the charge particle remains at rest. If it does not move, then V equal to 0. That means simply in the magnetic field, the charge is said to be at rest. Then what happens to this equation now? This equation becomes now FB equal to Q, V is nothing but 0 into B into sin theta. Okay. So FB becomes equal to 0. So that means no force acts on the charged particle if it is at rest in the magnetic field. But the situation is different with respect to electric field. In an electric field, whether you keep the charge at rest or if you make the charge to move, then it always experiences the force. That is one basic difference. In a magnetic field, if charge is at rest, then force is also 0. No force act on the charge. Whereas in electric field, whether the charge is at rest or if it is set into motion, then for both the cases, the charge experiences the force act on the charged particle. And we know very well that always a negatively charged particle, that means electron, minus Q I take. Negatively charged particle in an electric field always moves opposite to it. So this will be the direction of motion of a negative charge. Whereas in an electric field, if positive charge is kept, then what happens? It moves in the direction of electric field. So here on the charged particle, force acts opposite to electric field, whereas for positive charge in the electric field, force acts in the direction of electric field. So in case of magnetic field, for the force to act on the charged particle, always the charged particle must be set into motion, because if V becomes 0, then entire force also becomes equal to 0. Then let us consider one more point. Suppose if I make a neutron, that means neutron is an uncharged particle. This is the magnetic field. If I make a neutron to enter into the magnetic field with a velocity v at an angle theta, then what will be the force? Once again, force is found to be 0. Why? Because for neutron, what is the charge? Neutron is an uncharged particle, therefore Q equal to 0. What happens to this equation now? FB becomes equal to Q means 0, 0 into VB into sin theta, so it is equal to 0. So no force act on a neutral particle like neutron, even though it moves with a certain velocity in the magnetic field. On the other hand, if a charged particle in the magnetic field remains at rest, then also no force act. So overall we can say that if V equal to 0 and Q equal to 0, then force on such particle is always equal to 0. So these are the different situations in which we come across.